Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone. For my part, I will explain about autism and language development. For this part is actually focusing on the communications difficulties experienced by children with an autism and the different ways they communicate. For the first one, I would like to explain what is autism is. Actually, autism is an disorder like spectrum disorder, or we usually call as ASD, is a developmental condition that affects how a person who live with ASD usually communicates, interacts socially, and understands the world around them. Since autism exists on a spectrum, every individual experience is differently, especially in communication and language development. Now, now let's take a look at language development in autism. Language development refers to the process of learning how to understand words, express thought, and communicate with others. For many children with an autism, this process develops differently compared to the other children. There are several common language like language problems in autism. The first one is the first one is delayed language acquisition. This means some children with an autism develop speech later than expected, while most children begin saying simple words at an early age. Some autism children may take much longer than begin speaking, and some may not develop spoken language at all. Then the second one is echolalia. Echolalia is actually when the children repeating the words or phrases they hear instead of responding with their own answer. For an example, a child hears the question like, "How are you?" Instead of answering normally by saying, "I am fine," the child simply repeats, "How are you?" like that. This repeated response is called echolalia, and it's commonly seen in children with autism. Another challenge is difficulty understanding figurative language. Children with an autism often understand language very literally. For example, if someone says it's raining cats and dogs, they may become confused because they interpret the sentence based on its literal meaning rather than understand it as an expression for heavy rain. Hmm. Another language difficulty is limited use of gestures. Many children with an autism may have difficulty using their body language, such as pointing, waving, nodding, or making an eye contact. Mhm. Since gestures are an important part of communication, this can make social interaction more challenging. Now, let us discuss types of communication used by individuals with an autism. The first one would be verbal communication. Some autistic individuals can communicate using spoken language, although they may have a difficulty maintaining conversation, choosing words appropriately, or understand social rules during communication. The second type is non-verbal communication. Some children may rely more on facial expressions like eye contact, body movement, or hand gesture. instead of speech to communicate their needs and feelings. The third type is alternative communication. Alternative communication helps individuals who have difficulty speaking express themselves in the other ways. One example is Picture Exchange Communication System, also known as PECS. This system allows children to use picture cards to communicate what they want. Another example might be communication application installed on the tablets or phone, which allow children to press symbols or words that speak for them electronically. In conclusion, autism affects language development in many ways, including delayed speech development, echolalia, difficulty understanding figurative language, and limited use of gestures. I think that's all for my part. Thank you for listening.